נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
Shabbat Shalom, Boker Tov. Good morning, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Rabbi Denise Egger, and that was Rabbi Max Chaikin praying Modeh Ani, set to music by Cantor Jeff Klepper. We're delighted to be with you. We're from Congregation Kol Ami in West Hollywood, California, and this is our Shabbat Awakening morning service. We're glad to be joined, as always, by Cantor Nancy Cohn, who will chant Torah for us later this morning. And we have an opportunity on this beautiful first Shabbat of the month of Iyar, a chance to breathe deeply, to take in the joy, all the joy that we can find, even as we shelter in place in this time of difficulty for our world. We want to think about the week that we just went through. Perhaps you had a chance to take a walk outside wherever you are, to take a moment to be with family on Zoom across the country. Perhaps you're worried about a loved one somewhere who's ill, maybe from effects of COVID-19 or some other illness. And today our prayers will go up and out to try and affect and create the world that we want it to, as we want it to be. And so let's join together. We've celebrated Israel's 72nd birthday this week, and let us go enjoy now as we bless and praise God for the very breath within us as we sing the prayer set to Debbie Friedman's melody, Elohai Neshama, page 78. If you're using the Mishkan Tefillah flip book, it's page 78. And if you're using a Mishkan Tefillah Sidor in hardcover on Kindle, it's 196.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi tehorai. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi tehorai. Ata verata, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata meshamera, meshamra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi tehorai. Take that deep breath. Feel that spirit of the universe, that breath of life flowing within and beyond you. Our morning service teaches us to begin with gratitude for our being, for our bodies, for our souls, for our spirits, and to move into words and verses of praise, of Hallel, Psalms, Psuke de Zimra, of song and joy and praise. And it's not always easy to do that, but one of the particular Psalms that we'll sing right now is on page 100 of your flipbook, or 218 of Mishkan Tefillah. Psalm 150, it reminds us that there are so many ways to make joyful noise, to make prayer and music that bring joy and praise to our lives. only word you really need is hallelujah. So wherever you are, say that with me, hallelujah. We're going to sing it like this. Hallelujah, 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 el bekocho, hallelujah, birkiah, hallelujah, gurotam, hallelujah, kiro, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 beteka shofar, hallelujah, benevel vechidor, hallelujah, betofu machol, hallelujah, beminim ve'uga, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 b'tziltzei shama, hallelujah, b'tziltzei trua, hallelujah, b'tziltzei shama, hallelujah, b'tziltzei trua, kol hanshama, techalel ya, hallelujah, kol hanshama, techalel ya, hallelujah. We move from words of praise into our Shema U'Virchoteha, into the Shema and her blessings, the part of our service, of our morning and evening service that declares God's oneness. And it isn't always easy for us to call ourselves to prayer in this virtual space. It's one of the things that here at Congregation Kol Ami you might have noticed we've been doing a little bit differently, because we have not been praying Baruch Hu as we might normally do in West Hollywood in our sanctuary. Instead, we've been using words, spoken words mostly, to move us and transition us into this next part of our service. This morning, I'd like to offer the blessing, though, that it can be found on page 109 of our flipbook, page 227 of Mishkan Tefillah. And this is a blessing that is another way of thanking God and acknowledging this moment of transition into these words of Shema, these words that unite us with our people, the Jewish people all over the world, and that declare God's oneness. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat kriyat Shema, lahamlicho b'levav shalem u'liachdo b'lev tov, u'lavdo b'nefesh chafetza. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us how to recite Shema, to declare wholeheartedly God's rule, to declare earnestly God is one, and to willingly worship God. On page 112 of our flipbook, or 130 in Mishkan Tefillah, be leading Ahava Rabbah. This is a melody that I composed with my colleague Rabbi Daniel Brenner a few years back while we were students at the Hebrew Union College here in Los Angeles. And it's a melody that we hope helps to bring to life this prayer, Ahava Rabbah, that God's love is shown by teaching, by learning, by that process unending of growing and changing and continuing to live as best we can in this world. Ahava Rabbah avtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, chemla gedola, v'terach amalta aleinu. Ahava Rabbah avtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, chemla gedola, v'terach amalta aleinu. בעבור אבותינו ואימותינו שבטחו בך וצלמתם חוקי חיים כן תכוננו ותלמדנו אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו חמלה גדולה ויתרה חמלת עלינו ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. We continue now in Shema, declaring God's oneness together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed.
Join in chanting the Via Hafta together, page 116 in your Mishkan flipbook and 234 in the Kindle or hardcover version. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. As we move from that central notion of thinking about God's oneness, we also think about how we as a people were formed as one people. And our exodus from Egypt, that moment when we left, that we celebrated and observed and remembered at Pesach just a few weeks ago, was that moment that coalesced us as we moved through from slavery towards the promised land and towards freedom. And along the way, there were lots of moments of transformation. And of course, one of those moments was the crossing of the Yam Suf, the crossing of the Red Sea. That too was a moment of wonder, a moment of awe, of unspeakable joy as the children of Israel were able to escape impending doom by the army of Egypt chasing after them. And so we reimagine that moment of awe when the waters split and we were able to escape swiftly, crossing on dry land to the other shore. We, in this time of pandemic and the world, we too will at some point be able to cross to another side. We'll be able to emerge from our homes back into the world. And we too will shout and sing with joy at that moment of redemption. And so let's practice as we sing Mi Chamocha together, imagining that time of safety and journey, wonder, and awe, page 122 or 240.
Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora teilot osef eleh Nora teilot osef eleh Adonai imloch leolam va'ed Shira chadasha shibchu geulim לשמך שפתיים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו אדוני, ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי ללילה, יא לילה, יא לילה, יאי ללילה, לה לילה, לילה, יאי ללילה, לה לילה, יא לילה, יאי ללילה, לה לילה, לילה. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדקנו מך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We move now to the central part of our worship. We begin on page 242 or 124 in the flip book, on 126 and 128, as we move into Avot and Gevurot and Kedusha. But we begin together. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, תומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מהלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמרת לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Amen. Page 130 in your flip book, or 248 in Mishkan Tefillah. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. שבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please take a moment to continue with the words of your heart or the words of our Siddur. יהיו לרצון אמרי-פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Yehu liratzon imrefi, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי.
We're so pleased and excited to be able to share some words, hearing the Torah And perhaps it's one of the things I miss most about being in our sanctuary and in our synagogue is always the thrill of opening the ark and seeing the Torah scrolls waiting for us to embrace them and to carry them through the community and for all of us to be able to touch and embrace Torah. But this morning we're so excited because our wonderful Nancy Cohen is still going to chant Torah for us. And through the beauty of technology, you too are going to be able to watch the Torah reading through our Torah cam. So we're going to, as we begin our service today, this is a double portion for reading the Torah this week, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. And Cantor Nancy Cohen's going to be chanting from Leviticus 19:23 through 32. Some of those verses ought to be incredibly familiar to you because those are verses that we chant also on Yom Kippur afternoon in the afternoon service from Parshat Kedoshim. And so as we begin this morning, let us turn our thoughts to imagine the ark opening and the glory and splendor of seeing the multiple Sifrei Torah there in their beauty, awaiting us to embrace them and to hold them and to carry them throughout the community. We sing together.
Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama.
Cantor Cohen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'll do a little Dvar Torah or Dvar Trope, as we call it, before I embark on the reading.
Cantor, do you like your verses on the screen now? Was that?
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you, Toda Rabah. Leviticus, and especially Parshat Kedoshim, is so rich that it's hard to know where to start. Nonetheless, verses 29 to 32 are noteworthy to me for their seeming lack of connectedness. They almost appear as just several random instructions put together. On further examination, however, it can be seen that these verses are really about relationships, both between family, between people at large, between our people and the land, and of course, between our people and one God. The question then for me always becomes how the trope or the Torah melody informs or dresses these relationships. To begin with, verse 29, as you can see from the translation, is an admonition not to degrade one's daughter and make her a harlot, lest the land fall into harlotry and be depraved. Rashi tells us that the verse denotes that we will be actually deceived by the soil and that the produce will grow outside the land. Now, as always in commentary, there's some controversy, and Ibn Ezra, and to an extent Nachmanides, Ramban, say that the verse refers to the promiscuity of the inhabitants of the land, i.e., we should not behave like pagan or idolatrous nations. How then does the trope underscore the meaning? Well, the end of the verse, and the land be filled with depravity, is a mercha tipcha sof pasuk. And it's on the second line, the last, it's the second to the last and the third to the last words on the second line. And the trope marks are mercha tipcha, and they look like two commas under the Hebrew letters and vowels. And it sounds like this. It sounds mercha tipcha sof pasuk. Tira'u ani Adonai. Mercha is a lengthener, and tipcha is really a hand sign, and it is a hand breath. It translates as a hand breath. So together, that sound forms a beautiful lilt. Mercha tipcha sof pasuk. It's almost like bell chimes, where you can still hear the tones of the first chime as the second one rings. We learn, therefore, that by keeping that commandment, we protect our land both as a source of sustenance, of beauty, and in recognition that God gave us the land. Well, that verse is immediately followed by an instruction to keep Shabbat and to be respectful, to be in awe of the sanctuary. What is the relationship between the verse that we just read and this next verse about the sanctuary? Why is Shabbat described in terms of the sanctuary? It says, "Et shabtotai tishmoru umikdashi tira'u ani Adonai." My Sabbaths you shall keep, and my sanctuary you shall fear, you shall revere. I am God. I am your God. Again, Nachmanides teaches that keeping Shabbat is equal to all the commandments, and that not even the building of the sanctuary could override the holiness and the importance of keeping Shabbat. The trope elucidates these points because umikdashi tira'u, the let's see, it's again on the second line there, umikdashi tira'u, is tipcha et nachta. Now, tipcha is again that hand breath, and et nachta is a rest. So the trope is teaching us that we have a holy space and a holy time in Shabbat. Suddenly then, the Torah takes us to a verse which prohibits inquiring about ghosts. Why? Simply, the sanctuary is complete. There is no need for talking about ghosts, much less divining ghosts. The trope tells us this by the use of mapach pashta katon. It sounds like mapach pashta katon. Mapach is a reverser. Pashta is an extension, and katon means small. So no matter how extensive people may want the influence of ghosts to be, we are to reverse it. We are to treat it in reverse or as very, very small. And then finally, the Torah tells us to rise before the aged and to show deference to those who are old and to fear God. And it says here, Mipnei seva takum v'hadarta pnei zaken v'areta me'elohecha ani Adonai. It's the last two lines of Hebrew on the slide. Well, v'hadarta pnei zaken, as you can see, translates as show deference to the old. Pnei comes from the word which means face, and hadarta, although we translate it as show deference, it can also mean to adorn or to be splendorous. So therefore, we not only rise and recognize the face of a person who is older, not just because of the age that the person has reached, but rather because we are adorning that person who has years of Torah study. Hadarta is again a tipcha, a handbreadth, a space, and Pnei Zaken is a munach et nachta. You can see it on the second to the last line. It looks like a backwards L and an upside down wishbone. And a munach et nachta is a sustained rest. So therefore, more than merely resting in old age because a person's old, this aged person places fearing God, places the study of Torah in the space, in the handbreadth of the tipcha. And for that, we give splendor, we give respect to the aged. So once again, the trope allows us to dress the meaning of these seemingly disparate verses with ties to one another, to our generations, to Torah, and to God. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Cantor Cohen. Now we're going to hear those verses chanted, and we'll bring our Torah cam back, thanks to Rabbi Steinman. I'm going to just spotlight that Torah cam video, and we'll hear Cantor Cohen chanting for us.
וכי תבואו אל הארץ ונתתם פורח צמחה והרעלתם עורלתו את פריו 3 שנים יהיה לכם ערלים לא יאכל ובשנה הרביעית יהיה כל פריו קודש הילולים לאדוני, ובשנה החמישית תאכלו את פריו להוסיף לכם תבואתו, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תאכלו על הדם, לא תנחשו ולא תאוננו, לא תקיפו פאת ראשכם, ולא תשחית את פאת זקניך, ושאת לנפש לא תיתנו בבשרכם, וכתוב וקקה לא תיתנו בכם, אני אדוני. אל תחלל את ביתך בהזנותה, ולא תזנח הארץ, ומלאה הארץ עמם. את שבתותיך תשמורו, ומקדשי תיראו, אני אדוני. אל תפנו אל העופות ואל הידעונים, אל תבקשו לטומאה בהם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. מפני שיבה תקום והדרת פני זקן, ויראת מאלוהיך, אני אדוני.
Yasher Koach.
Yasher Koach, Cantor Cohen, thank you so much. In the presence of Torah, we continue now to offer Mishaberach Lacholim, a prayer for healing for all those in our world who are in need of healing right now, whether that be healing from the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, whether that be any other kind of healing. We know that other kinds of sickness haven't just suddenly gone away, unfortunately, because we're in this time of pandemic. whether that be healing of the body or the spirit. We are thinking of all those in our lives. If you're thinking of someone right now, we encourage you to say their name aloud or think about the qualities that you love about them, and as we offer this Mishaberach Lacholim. Mishaberach Avotenu V'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah V'yivarech et hacholim shelanu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lehachalimam U'lerapotam U'lehachazikam V'yishlach Lahem Meira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Hashta B'Gala V'Zman Kariv V'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors in every generation bless all those in our world who are in need of healing. God, bring them strength and courage. Bring each of us that same strength and courage and healing as we think about and hold close all those in our lives who are in need of love and care. God, bring strength to the doctors and the nurses and all of the people who are working each and every day to help our society continue to function even in this time of social distancing. Bless those who are in need of companionship with connection virtually, and may we all be part of the Refuah Shlema, the complete and total healing that we hope to see so very soon in this world. Amen.
Amen. Yeshkoach.
So we're going to continue now with a little bit more learning. As we would normally in our sanctuary in West Hollywood, this would be a time of discussion and learning, diving deeper into our Torah portion with some verses and perhaps some commentaries. And I think Rabbi Egger would like to start us off, or am I starting us off?
Well,
Remind me.
I'd be happy to start us off. We're going to take a look this morning at some verses that we didn't read, but come earlier in our Torah portion this morning. And this is a verse that I hope many of you are familiar with from Leviticus 19, but it is focused on verse 18. Ahavta l'reyecha kamocha ani Adonai. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Adonai, or I am. These are very famous words, of course, from this Kedoshim Parsha. And I wanted us to spend just a few moments upon these verses because, of course, one of the things, why are we all staying, sheltering in place? We're sheltering in place at this very time as an act of love, safety, and protection, not only for ourselves, but for all of our neighbors in the world. When we take this time that we've been doing for, at least in Los Angeles, for these more than 7 weeks now, we are practicing and living out this verse. We are loving our neighbors so much by protecting them and protecting one another and helping to flatten the curve. I want to take a look at what our ancestors had to say about this verse, and particularly because if we look in the Sifra, one of the commentaries on this verse in Sifra Kedoshim, this verse, according to the great Rabbi Akiva, teaches this is the fundamental principle of the Torah. He says, Zeh klal gadol b'Torah. Gadol, big, great. It's the greatest. It's the most important principle in the entire Torah, he says. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now, of course, with every rabbi comes another rabbi that wants to share his or her interpretation. And so this is, of course, it's not just the only most fundamental verse in the Torah, but Ben Azai teaches that it's an even greater principle because this is not just incumbent upon Jews. So Ben Azai teaches about this verse. This is the book of the generations of Adam. This principle is more fundamental. Now, what does Ben Azai mean from this? Ben Azai is saying, look, Akiva, you're right. It is the most important principle of Torah, but this principle of love your neighbor as yourself, ahavta l'reyecha kamocha, isn't just something that's limited to Torah and therefore something that's only for the Jewish people. No, this is in the book of the generations of Adam. Know that Adam, the first human being, this is an imaginary book, of course, a metaphor for a universal principle. It's not just a particularistic principle, a Jewish mitzvah. This is a principle for the whole world. And so we learn from these teachings of these two rabbis, not only if it's important in a particularistic manner, incumbent upon Jews as a mitzvah, as a commandment to love your neighbor as yourself, but this is a universal human principle, something that is applicable to the whole world. Now, I want to take that because often in the tradition, this verse, love your neighbor as yourself, is compared to another famous Jewish saying by the great sage Hillel, which he teaches in Shabbat 31a in the Talmud. Hillel teaches, what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. That is the entire Torah. The rest is commentary. Now go and study. You know, we often talk about the golden rule, do unto others. That's actually more in Christian New Testament language, the flip side of this. But interestingly, when Hillel teaches this verse, what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor, is also not just a particularistic ideal, but is also a universal idea. You don't know what your neighbor likes. You don't know whether your neighbor prefers chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, or maybe mint chip. But you kind of know what hurts. You know when your feelings are hurt. You know when you've been insulted. You know what causes pain. That is a universal experience. And so while we can't know what people like and prefer, we can know what is harmful and painful. And so Hillel teaches it in the negative, this universal principle about what's hateful to you, don't do to your neighbor. In other words, protect your neighbor, take care of your neighbor by refraining from harmful interactions and harmful behavior. We might apply that in this time to making sure that we're doing all we can to not harm our neighbor, wearing a mask when we go out, wearing gloves if we're going to the store so we're not touching the door handles, taking good care so that we don't harm our neighbors all the way. The last piece about this very principle about the verse from Leviticus, love your neighbor as yourself. As you'll see, there's a little bit more commentary now from on these same verses, and you'll see some things that are repeated in Bereshit Rabbah, in Genesis Rabbah, the great midrash collected in the 3rd century of this common era. We see these two things. Ben Azai teaches these are the generations of Adam, is a great principle in the Torah. And Rabbi Akiva says this is the great principle of the Torah. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. We've already seen that. But then it continues. Thus, one should say, since I have been humiliated, thus I should not say, since I have been humiliated, I will humiliate my neighbor as well. Since I have been cursed, I will curse my fellow as well. In other words, because you've experienced something negative is not your permission to turn around and inflict it upon another. This verse, this is trying to teach us to have empathy, sympathy, compassion. Even if we've gone through a difficult moment, it's not permission to go out and inflict that on others, on our neighbors. And concluding with Rabbi Tanchuma said, if you act thus, if you act this way, realize who it is that you're willing to have humiliated. If you cause pain, if you inflict harm on your neighbor, it's not your neighbor who will be humiliated. It's not your neighbor who will actually be in pain, but the one who was made in the likeness of God. This is Rabbi Tanchuma saying it reflects on you in a negative way, on you, the one who's causing harm. So the greatest principle in Jewish tradition, not only in the Torah, but in the universal sense, is ve'ahavta re'echa kamocha, love your neighbor as yourself. And we learn that from this week's Torah portion. And let us learn to make sure that we're doing all we can in this time of sheltering in place during this pandemic to love our neighbors as we love ourselves and to take care of both ourselves and our neighbors.
Yasher koach. Yasher koach.
Yasher koach. Thank you, Rabbi Egger, for that teaching on this classic principle. We'll share a few more verses from this week's portion, and as we've already heard, it's about holiness, kedoshim, that idea that we can be holy, Kedoshim Tihiyu, Ki Kadosh Adonai, because God is holy. And as Cantor Cohen spoke about, some of the laws don't seem to, or maybe even confusing how they relate to one another, and she tied them together so beautifully. And Rabbi Egger just shared so beautifully about this Klal Gadol, this great principle. And so I'd like to share a few more of these verses, of the ways that these chapters in Leviticus are teaching us to be holy. So here we have a few verses, again, from this chapter about holiness. And one of the things that strikes me about these verses in particular is that they address both the collective and the individual. And it's curious, because when we hear at the beginning of the chapter, Kedoshim to you, this is in the plural in Hebrew. It is the collective, that we should all, our society, all of us contributing together, are to pursue holiness and to try and create a holy society. And so there are certain laws and customs that are mentioned here, such as this: Uvekutzrechem et ktsiratechem, when you all shall reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap all the way to the edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not pick your vineyard bare, or gather the fallen fruit of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. La'oni v'lager. Ani Adonai Elohechem. I, Adonai, am your God. So that's a commandment to all of us, that our society needs to make sure that the poor and the stranger, the oni and the ger, that these least well-off among us, that the most vulnerable among us, still have access to food. That's something that a holy society does, a society striving to be kadosh. In some ways it seems rather obvious, but right now, as people are around the country going to food banks and relying on food assistance more perhaps than we've ever seen in our lifetime, this is a reminder to us that part of the way we pursue holiness is bodily, is helping each other eat and survive in a physical sense, and an economic sense. And that brings us to this next verse, which is addressed at the individual, and reminds us that each one of us has an economic role to play. The verse says, "Lo ta'ashok et re'echa," you shall not defraud your fellow, "V'lo tigzol," and you shall not rob or embezzle or commit robbery, is one of the ways it's written, is translated. "Lo talin peulat zachir itcha ad boker," you shall not keep the wages of your laborer until the morning. You should pay your workers in a timely manner. So these are three different commandments within this one verse that all pertain to the individual. And they're a reminder to me in this time that each of us interacts in this economy. An economy can be a kind of strange thing to conceptualize. We hear a lot of different terms about it. The stories we hear about millions of people seeking work, or of the Dow Jones, or other things, they can become abstractions for us. But this verse is a reminder for me that each one of us interacts in the economy in different ways and has choices to make. Now, some of you might be those employers yourself who are still trying to pay your workers and doing what you can to pay them on time so they can go home and pay their bills and buy groceries. Some of you might be thinking about this in other ways economically, where you shop right now, how you support a local business or take out from a restaurant to try and help them stay in business. But taken together, these three verses this week for me are a reminder that at the level of society, we have this responsibility to pursue economic justice and holiness. And at the level of the individual, each one of us has choices we can make that can help be part of that pursuit of holiness. Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi, you are muted. I don't know.
Yasher koach.
Yasher koach. We just said Yasher koach. That was beautiful teaching. And a good reminder in these times when there is so much economic havoc, about our obligations to both the employees and to try and also think about those who are suffering, who need our help, and also to those who are employers. And and the strong efforts that I know many are making to help take care of their employees and their families. So thank you for that beautiful teaching and beautiful reminder.
We're going to continue by wrapping up our Torah service with singing together Al Shlosha Devarim, that the world stands on three things: on Torah, on Avodah, on our prayer, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, and on the acts of loving kindness we can bring into this world. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al HaTorah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al HaTorah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim. We're going to continue now with a prayer for our country. If you are joining in Mishkan Tefillah, you can find it on page 258 of the flip book, or page 376. Guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you, O God. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife. May our country be sound in body and spirit. And together we all might say, Amen.
Amen. And we turned to the next page as we offer this prayer for the state of Israel. Of course, we observed the 72nd anniversary of the founding of the state of Israel, Yom Ha'atzmaut, this past week. Avinu Shabashamayim, Sor Yisrael v'Goelo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagen Aleha be'ervat chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, V'shlach Orcha v'amatcha al Rasheha, Sareha v'yotzeha, V'tachnem be'etzah tova milfanecha, V'natata Shalom ba'aretz, V'simchat halam l'yoshveha, V'nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love and spread over it the canopy of your peace and your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
We want to just again take a moment to wish you each a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom, and again to thank Cantor Nancy Cohen always for her insightful Torah teaching and teaching us more in depth about how the trope really embodies comments and on the Torah itself. And we're grateful to Rabbi Steinman for helping us with Torah Cam this morning. Just a few quick reminders of things that are happening tomorrow afternoon. You can join us for another in our virtual Virtuoso concert series. Catter Patty Linsky will be performing at 4 o'clock Sunday, May 3rd. That's tomorrow. And if you go to our temple website at kol-ami.org, kol-ami.org, you can go to our calendar page and click on the Zoom link there embedded in May 3rd and tomorrow and register for this wonderful concert. As you know, Cantor Linsky is with us, our High Holy Day cantor, and she'll be performing both not only Jewish music, but standards as well. And then on Tuesday, May 5th, we'll have the second installment at 6 p.m. Our Kol Ami member, Glenn Rosenblum, is going to wow us with another lecture about Broadway groundbreakers, from Fiddler on the Roof to Hair. He teaches a lot all over the world on the history and Broadway musicals. And his first class had 150 people join us. And so this will be fantastic. Again, that's Tuesday, May 5th at 6 p.m. Again, you can register by going to the Kol Ami website, kol-ami.org. Wednesday, we start a new 2-week workshop with Dr. Jane Drucker, who's a PCC, which is a level of high level of certified coach. She's going to lead us in the first of 2 writing workshops, Writing Your Inner Journey, especially as we're sheltering in place. It's a good time to think about journaling and keeping track of how you're feeling, and perhaps you've always wanted to write that book. Jane's going to help you with that, and that'll be Wednesday at 4 p.m. And then I think one of the most exciting things is on Monday, June 8th, we will be celebrating Kol Ami's 28th anniversary with our Kol Ami Stronger Together virtual gala, an evening of celebration and entertainment. We're honoring incredible people this year, including Josh Finkel and Steve Shmonis with the Alan Rich Arts and Humanities Award for their contributions. Jess Winfeld, who leads the charge on so many of our social justice initiatives in our congregation, with the Spirit of Kol Ami Award. And we'll be honoring Assistant LAPD Police Chief Beatrice Grimala for her incredible healing work that she's been doing, and with the Shomer Tzedek, the Guardian of Justice Award. We need your help. This is a time Kol Ami really needs your support to continue to do all that we do and continue to help us be connected to one another. And the gala is a great way to show your support. You can purchase a ticket online. We need some of you to step up at higher levels to be sponsors and to honor our honorees with tribute journal ads. There'll be a silent auction that'll be on for a week that you'll be able to participate in with great things that I know that you'll want. I know some of you love to shop online, and here's your chance to benefit Congregation Kol Ami. So all of this and more information is at our website at, again, kol-ami.org, kol-ami.org. And whether it's clicking on one of the registration links for these great programs or becoming a sponsor or sponsoring one of these streaming services, we would be most grateful for your donations to help us continue to thrive, even as we're at home sheltered in place. We're going to continue our service now together as we count the Omer. We're counting the days between Passover and Shavuot. And if you want to turn in your prayer books now, page 570 in the hardcover, we'll count the days as we look forward and anticipate the giving of Torah. Hineni muchanu mazuman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel Sfirat HaOmer. I'm ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al Sfirat HaOmer. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who helps us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Today, Hayom Shlosha v'Esrim Yom, Shehem Shlosha Shavuot U'Shnei Yamim. Today is the 23rd day of counting the Omer, which is 3 weeks and 2 days of counting the Omer. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Whenever we gather together, we remember those who have departed this life, those in recent days and those perhaps in days exactly in many years ago. And we want to take a moment now to think of all of those that you're reciting Kaddish for. Perhaps you're in days of recent mourning, or like myself, observing a yahrzeit today of my own mother. And so we want to read the names that our congregation are observing the yahrzeits of: Steve Kreitzel, Ava Rogalski, Estelle Egger, Irving Lax, Morris Wortman, David Siegel, Morris Rouse, Robert Lapson, Benyahu Habibi, Blake Shapiro, Irving Wyszynski, Bernard Levine, Nicholas Rodriguez, Richard Link, Daniel Kaplan, and Rose Elkin. And we're remembering with Kaddish this year, Lloyd John Ogilvie, Max Sains, Roz Dotson, Rose Green, Andy Wolf, Jeanette Kaufman, Charlotte Karen, Claire Finkel, Gilbert Weinbar, Sarah Rivka Seltzer, Dave Udelhoffen, Anne-Marie Jim Bruno, Pedro Santiago, Devona Lewis, Leonard Irving Schertz, Benny Perry, Jennifer Bachner, David Slobodian, Vivi Davidson, Askiram Milchan, Claire Cohen, Shell Rosenthal, Bo Miller, Chris Jacobs, Audrey Weiss, Ray Lopez, Bill Cacall, Thomas Nathan, Robert Barnett, Israel Irving Margolin, Nina Ross, Patricia D'Amico, and we note with sadness the deaths this week of Michael Finelli, stepfather of Herb Schultz, Rabbi Richard Leviton, uncle of Stuart Leviton, and Leonard Mark Leibovitz, friend of Evan Cohen. Wherever you are, if you want to say the name aloud of the loved ones you're remembering, would you do so at this time? We turn to recite the prayer that affirms life, that life will go on and that life will be holy, and connecting to all that is holy and good in the lives of those who have died in years past or in recent days. We turn to page 294 in the Mishkan flip book, or 598 in Mishkan Tefillah Siddur hardbook or Kindle, as we say together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Yama divrach yute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'me'amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei d'kudusha brichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tishbachata v'nechamata, Damiran bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'kol yeshvei tevel v'imru Amen. May the one who sends peace from above bring peace down here on earth to each and every one of us, and grant eternal peace to those who died. And let us say together, Amen.
Amen. We're going to close in song with Shir LaShalom in honor of Israel's 72nd birthday this past week, a song of peace, page 354 in the flipbook, page 658 in Mishkan Tefillah. צרו לשמש לעלות, לבוקר להאיר, הזעקה שבתפילות אותנו לא תחזיר. מי אשר קבע נרו ובעפר נטמן, בחימר לא יאירו, לא יחזירו לכאן. איש אותנו לא ישיב, מבור תחתית אפל, כאן לא יועילו לו שמחת הניצחון ולא שירי הלל. לכן רק שירו שיר השלום, אל תלחשו תפילה, מוטב תשירו שיר השלום בצעקה גדולה. צאו לשמש לחדור מבעד לפרחים, אל תביטו לאחור, הניחו להולכים. שאו עיניים בתקווה, לא דרך כוונות, שירו שיר לאהבה ולא למלחמות. אל תגידו יום יבוא, הביאו את היום, כי לא חלום הוא, ובכל הכיכרות הריעו רק שלום. לכן רק שירו שיר השלום, אל תלחשו תפילה, מוטב תשירו שיר השלום בצעקה גדולה. לכן רק שירו שיר השלום, אל תלחשו תפילה, מוטב תשירו שיר השלום בצעקה גדולה.
Shir LaShalom, a song of peace. May that song of peace be emblazoned upon our hearts. May we sing it out loud, and may we create a world filled with peace and harmony and healing. And may we love our neighbors as ourselves. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, everyone, wherever you are.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
Strength and healing, and thank you for being with us this morning. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Yashkoach.